We've made it to the last two questions of mile marker 4 practice 1. These two questions I misspoke earlier about 7 and 8, but these two actually do depend on one another. So unfortunately, if you miss question 9, you've really decreased the likelihood that you would get 10 correct. So I know that's going to be kind of tough for some of us. We really got to attend to precision here. Let's take a look at what we're being asked to do. We see we've got a circle, we've got a sector, and remember that we've got a sector, but this part right here from A to C is an arc. So we're told that the length of minor arc AC, again, I know it's a minor arc because I'm using 2 letters there. The length of that is 3 pi. And what we're asked to find in the first question is AB. And we talked about this if you watched the video for question 7 and 8. But AB, this is a radius here. They're asking us to find the radius of this circle. All right, so we can do that using the little information we know. We're told in the diagram, not explicitly down here, but we could see 36 degrees right here. The implication is that that is the measure of our central angle ABC. So what we want to do is we want to go back to that proportion we're probably very familiar with by now. And we're not talking about the sector yet. We're just talking about the arc. So I'm going to set this up so that I'm comparing my arc to my circle, really to the circumference of the circle, because those are both linear measures of distance. We're going to compare that. We said we can make a comparison between degrees. And in this case, since we're talking about arcs, we're going to talk about length. Okay, so we know our arc, the central angle is 36 degrees. For our circumference, we know a circle has 360 degrees. Now you might notice that this is equal to the fraction 1/10. So you might be able to kind of shortcut through this problem if you recognize 36 over 360 is 1/10. We're going to set this equal to the comparison of lengths. Now we're told the arc length. We got to be careful when we fill in what we know here, because this time we know the arc length is 3 pi. What we don't know is the length of that circumference. So like I did in the last few problems, I'm going to write x, but I'm going to write x pi because I want my variable here to represent the number that's the multiplier of pi, not the actual circumference itself. Again, when we leave something in terms of pi, that's a helpful strategy. Okay, so now we're at the step we know so well, cross multiplication. So we diagonally write out our cross products. 36x, and for reasons I detailed in the last few videos, I'm not even going to include pi in this cross product. And then 360 times 3. And if I don't include pi on the left, I'm not going to include it on the right. So I either need to include it in both places or not include it in either place. All right, now it's just a one-step equation. This one we really don't even need a calculator for, because as we divide both sides by 36, we probably recognize that this number is 36 times 10, so x equals 10. Now, 10 is not the circumference of the circle. 10 is the value of x. But if you look back to our proportion, we said that we were going to let x be the number that's multiplied with pi. So when we write our answer in pi notation, it's not 10, but it's 10 pi. That's not our final answer. Whew, hold on, caught myself. 10 pi is the circumference of the circle. I'm going to write the word no above this. Don't do what I did. What we just found here is the circumference. And I lost myself for a minute because I was thinking that we were solving for circumference, but we're not. We're solving for radius. We still had to do all this. We're just not done yet. So what we found now is the circumference of this circle. We might even want to write that out up here in case we need it again. So the circumference is 10 pi. Now, how does that lead us to the radius? That's why this problem is so tough. It's so many steps. We said before that circumference is equal to pi times diameter. So if my circumference is 10 pi, I can infer from that that my diameter is 10. Now, we're not asked to find a diameter, we're asked to find a radius, but I know that my radius is a diameter divided by 2, therefore my radius is 5. So 5 is the final answer to this first question in number 9. The length of AB is 5.